The capital of the United States radiates ceremony through its vast landscape spaces and bold, neoclassical monuments in marble and white granite. Washington, D.C. is where you can look under America's hood, meet its heroes, get to know the mechanisms of its government, and find out just what makes this global superpower tick. For people with a curious mind, Washington is nothing less than a feast, as the headquarters of the Smithsonian Institute, for first-class museums in multiple fields from art to science, history, air and space, and natural history. In this video, you'll see the top 10 things to see and do in Washington. The suggestions are based on our several exciting trips to the City of Angels. Here are our top 10 picks. Begin with number 1, National Mall. A national park. With park rangers available to answer questions, the National Mall is a vast landscape park, rich with world-famous landmarks, museums of the highest quality, and inspiring monuments to events and figures that changed the course of history. This grand park starts by the Potomac at the Lincoln Memorial in the west and continues for a little under 2 miles east to the Capitol Steps, spreading across 310 acres. Smithsonian museums line the National Mall's north and south sides, while your eye will always be drawn to the iconic Washington Monument. It's a place for quiet reflection, reverence, and moments of pure wonder. Number 2 is the United States Capitol. Crowning Capitol Hill and on a perfect axis with dozens of monuments on the National Mall is a worldwide symbol of democracy, visible across Washington. The Capitol building is the home of the Senate and the House of Representatives, and the seat of the legislative branch of the federal government of the United States. For much of its past, it has also housed the Library of Congress and the Supreme Court. Initially completed in 1800 and based on the Paris Pantheon and the east front of the Louvre, the Capitol was given its signature 55-meter-high dome in the 1850s and 60s. A 60-minute tour of the Capitol is one of Washington's obligatory things to do. Number 3, Lincoln Memorial. The western bookend of the National Mall is the monument to the 16th President of the United States, the Savior of the Union. Raised between 1914 and 1922, the Lincoln Memorial is in the style of a Doric temple and fronted by a reflecting pool, over a third of a mile long, and one of Washington's most famous images. Approach the ensemble from the east to appreciate the full grandeur of the reflecting pool and memorial building. The latter is loaded with symbolism. There are 36 Doric columns, one for each of the states when Abraham Lincoln was president, and their names are inscribed on the frieze above. Number 4, Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum. The museum will remain open throughout, and is a sparkling celebration of mankind's, but especially America's, aviation achievements. There are 2 massive main hangars, bursting with world-changing aircraft and spacecraft. Some blockbuster exhibits are the Apollo 11 Command Capsule, Charles Lindbergh's Spirit of St. Louis, John Glenn's Friendship 7 Capsule, the Bell X-1, which was the first manned aircraft to break the sound barrier, and the Wright brothers' Wright Flyer, which performed the first manned and controlled heavier-than-air flight. Rising almost to the ceiling is a cluster of ballistic missiles, while there's a Concorde, a Lockheed State Route 71 Blackbird, and a space shuttle to marvel at. Number 5 in our list, Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial. The first monument on the National Mall to pay tribute to a man of color is the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial on the northwest shore of the tidal basin. The centerpiece is a 9.1-meter statue of Martin Luther King Jr., one of the leaders of the civil rights movement that led to separate but equal laws being overturned, helped strike down all laws banning interracial marriage, and led to segregation being deemed unconstitutional. The inspiration for the memorial, comprising a big granite rock divided by a ravine, and Dr. King's likeness emerging from a wall of granite, was a line from his historic "I have a dream" speech, "Out of the mountain of despair, a stone of hope." Number 6. The White House. The residence and workplace of the President of the United States is north of the Ellipse, on the downtown side of the National Mall. In a neoclassical style, it was drawn up by Irish architect James Hoban and ready in 1800, although a near-complete reconstruction was needed after it was set ablaze by the British in the War of 1812. If you're just passing by, the Ellipse, scene of the National Christmas Tree, is a good vantage point for the curving south portico, while the famed north portico is best seen from Pennsylvania Avenue. Number 7. Georgetown. Founded for the tobacco trade in 1751, the port of Georgetown was on the map 40 years before the city of Washington and is beloved for its historic cobblestone streets, opulent homes, upmarket restaurants, one-of-a-kind boutiques, scenic waterfront on the Potomac, and famous university. In summer you can rent a kayak or paddleboard at the Key Bridge Boathouse, while Washington Harbor is skirted by restaurants with outdoor terraces and has water fountain for children to play in. The old Chesapeake and Ohio Canal, for shipping tobacco, starts right here in Georgetown, and the towpath is very picturesque. Among the neighborhood's many plush residences is Tudor Place, 1816, home to the descendants of Martha Washington for 6 generations. Number 8. Jefferson Memorial. A beautiful replica of Rome's Pantheon is a fitting tribute to the nation's third president, key member of the Founding Fathers and main author of the Declaration of Independence. The Jefferson Memorial is on the south shore of the tidal basin, and its architecture tallies with Jefferson's personal taste as it bears a lot of similarities to his Monticello plantation in Virginia, a building he designed himself. The relief in the pediment shows Jefferson flanked by the other signatories of the Declaration of Independence, and within stands a 5.8-meter bronze statue of Jefferson by sculptor Rudolph Evans. Number 9. Ford's Theater. This venue at 551 10th Street had been open for less than 2 years when it was the scene of Abraham Lincoln's assassination by actor John Wilkes Booth on April 14, 1865. Lincoln had been attending a production of Our American Cousin when he was shot in the head in the presidential box by Booth at close range. He was then lifted across the street to the Peterson House, also now part of the Ford's Theater National Historic Site, where he died the following morning. The Ford's Theater was turned into a warehouse and office in the decades after assassination, before being reopened to the public for performances in 1968. Finish with number 10, Smithsonian National Zoo. Just like all the Smithsonian museums, the institution's National Zoo is free to enter. The main campus is a 20-minute Metrorail ride from the National Mall and keeps around 1,500 animals from 300 species in 163 acres of woodland next to Rock Creek. The 2 stars at the National Zoo are the giant pandas, Mei Xiang and Tian Tian, who have produced 6 cubs, as well as the giant panda habitat. Make time for other standout exhibits like the Cheetah Conservation Station, the American Bison Habitat, the Asia Trail, with clouded leopards, Asian small-clawed otters and fishing cats, and elephant trails, home to the zoo's herd of Asian elephants. Now it's time to hear from you. What's your favorite things to do in Washington? Is there something we missed? Let us know in the comments section below. And don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to Greenable if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.